Wind Down Wednesday is brought to you by Mila Eve Essentials. Visit MilaEveEssentials.com for 100% pure, therapeutic essential oils and other products. Nature knows best, and so does Mila Eve.
Thank y'all for hopping over from Tea with Monique. I'm here with Riley now.
Hello.
In person. This is so weird.
It's the first time we've done it in person, no?
Yeah, I think Wind Down Wednesday, yeah.
And we live 15 minutes away.
No, we did Wind Down Wednesday in person with Jeff. And then Chris came and crashed.
And also on your anniversary with Chef Mel.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Okay, so we
Our memory is terrible. So look, y'all, everybody who's coming off the high of watching Binder Time Stories, I know y'all are all excited and stuff. What's going on? Welcome to Wind Down Wednesday. Make sure y'all go ahead and hit that like button as you enter the room. I'm so excited. So yeah, Anissa said, child, I can always use some more coins. Exactly.
Can't we all?
I'm here early and ready, and we were late. I'm sorry. We were trying to get this camera situation together since I had to change it, make sure, we both fit in here nicely and stuff. So I had a little, few issues, but here where the money resides. Exactly. Look, we're trying to teach y'all some things. We're trying to help you make it grow. And I'm really excited. Literally, Katrina, get ready to take some notes. Legit, like facts. So make sure y'all have a pen, paper, or if you take notes from your phone. But you're about to get some information that is not only useful, but it's free. And you don't always get free stuff. But here at Not for Lazy Moms, we love to give y'all free information. So I want to make sure that y'all enjoy the episode, learn something, have fun. If y'all have questions, post them in the chat. I'll post them up and we'll get those questions answered. But yes, we're going to talk about, Love and Hip Hop said, teach us about stocks. We're going to talk about all of that. It's so much. I'm really excited. So I'm going to put our guest up on the screen. And her name is Petya. And I know her from when I spent like a little bit of time in school. So I went to Duquesne University on a full academic scholarship for the business law program. And that's when I decided, y'all pretty much know my story. I was like, you know what? I want to pursue music, and I ended up leaving school. But I met some really great people while I was there, and Petya is one of the people that was there. And now she is a financial advisor. She's local here in the Maryland area, and she is here. Petya, what is going on?
Hi, everybody.
Yeah. Hi.
I'm so happy to be here.
We are so grateful for you to be here. And I want people to also know that you are not only a financial advisor, but you have children as well. So you're also a Not for Lazy Mom.
Absolutely. 2 little ones, keeping me extra busy.
Yes. Oh, man. How old are they?
So I have a 1.5-year-old and a recently turned 5-year-old.
Wow. Oh, my gosh. Yes. Wow. And I have 3, 8, 5 to be 6 soon, and 2.
Yes, they keep you busy, but such a blessing for sure.
Yes, that's what I like to say. They're little blessings. But no, they really are. They really are. But sometimes you be looking at them like, what I do, Lord? What did I do?
I know. My 5-year-old's going on like 13 right now. I'm like, what?
Oh, those stages where they act like you are the child and they're the parent and they think they know so much.
Absolutely.
Did you have to lock yourself in a room?
Yeah, I'm actually downstairs in my little home office that I got set up, but yeah. I told my daughter, I was like, listen, mommy has a meeting, please, whatever you need, just go ask dad. Just please leave me alone for an hour.
Yep, that's exactly the case here as well. So Wednesdays, my kids have come to love it because they always have to go through me to use their iPad. So I save up the iPad time and I give it to them on Wednesday. So it's like Wednesday,
exactly.
Use iPad. Yep, go ahead because I got things to do. And I'm in the basement as well.
Mm-hmm. I was like, you have an iPad, get your snacks, get your iPad, just leave me alone for an hour.
Yes. First of all, my sister is here and she said, I'm here for the wealthy sugar mamas.
That's right.
And if the
Tell me
shit,
where it's raining.
I be the shit. Is that what that's supposed to say? That's hilarious. Take me where the rain in Benjamins. Where it's in Benjamins. So listen, people are ready and they're waiting. Aloha, hello, and welcome. They're ready and they're waiting for some good information that they can use. I know sometimes people get really confused when it comes to financial portfolios because of a lot of the wording and just lingo. It goes above their head. They just want somebody that can just talk to them and say, look, here are your options. Here's how you save. So I'm going to let you go ahead and take over and just give people an overview of what you do and how you can help people obtain financial freedom.
Sure. Well, the first thing that I think is really important that people do is they really need to figure out what their cash flow looks like. So one of the first things that I do with all my clients is let's take a deeper look at what's coming into the household as far as income and what's going out in expenses. I think that's an elementary step, but it's very, very important because we have to really know what we're working with at the end of the day. And we have to know, are you falling behind on a monthly basis when it comes to, cash flow? Are you breaking even, or do you have a surplus? And if you have a surplus, how much is that surplus? And, most people, I hate to say it, but they don't really take the time to actually sit down and look at where they're spending their money. And that's just key that you have to do. It's something tedious, but it's very important. And then from that point on, once you get a reasonable idea of what you have at the end of the month to work with, then we can decide, okay, how much are you comfortable with dedicating to your various financial goals? And of course, it's important that we prioritize those goals, so that we know what time frame we're looking at for each one of them. And then from that point, once we know, okay, how much you're willing to dedicate towards those financial goals, then we can go ahead and put together an investment plan. And a part of that investment plan is definitely discussing the client's risk tolerance. I can't tell you how many people say, I'll give them like a 10 question kind of assessment on what, on the stock market and what their level of risk is or their threshold for pain is when it comes to the stock market. And they may say, they'll answer and they may say, oh, I'm super conservative, but then the answers come out that they're actually really aggressive, or maybe they say that they're aggressive, but their answers really don't match up with their risk tolerance or what they think their risk tolerance is. So it's important to really know, if the stock market drops 30% on any given day, are you going to be upset? Are you going to lose sleep over that? Is that going to bother you? What impact is that going to have on your financial situation? Because it's one thing to be able to make money. And it's great when you're making money, right? Everybody's happy. We've been in this 10-year bull market. Everybody's making money. But what happens when the market tanks 30% like it did right when COVID hit last year? Or back in 2008, you can lose half of your money. And are you going to be upset with that? So it's really important, just to get a good sense of what your risk tolerance is. And then from that point, put together an investment approach that you're comfortable with.
Right. I think a lot of people don't understand that when they're making these investments, they have to invest what they can go a certain time period without. Exactly. So I remember we would get in the past, because I think people pretty much know me and Chris now to the point of, like, our family and friends and close people that around us, they know not to ask us for anything because we ain't giving nothing out. So my thing that I would have to explain over and over again is we plan out our finances for the year. You're not going to walk in my house and just find $1 million laying around. Right. My money is tied up into investments, and there's a certain time period that those investments have to stay in that investment so that I don't get penalized for pulling the money out early. So in order to understand how much you're able to say, hey, I can take this out and put that there for 6 months to a year and it won't bother me, you have to know, what are you spending on a monthly basis? So I literally have binders in my office that actually will tell you for each house how much it costs to run that house for the entire year. Now, if people can plan out their finances by the year, do it by the month or by the quarter, however you need to do it. But you should know how much it costs to run your life, to live.
Yeah, to maintain your standard of living. You have to know it.
Exactly. A lot of people are like, oh, I want to save money and I want to make money and I want to invest, but they don't even know how much debt they have. So you have to know all of those things about yourself so that you can create a plan that you can actually stick to. And when you put it in the plan, the money comes. It really does. It's just knowing the proper steps to take. And a lot of people, sometimes people grow up in homes where they don't really know about financial freedom and wisdom when it comes to money. So they just kind of do what their parents did, just enough to pay the bills. And then you're like, dang, I don't have anything extra for me to enjoy. Or they're spending too much and they're not even worried about like, oh, can I own something one day? Or what is a proper investment? A car is not an investment, So yeah. So can you speak more even to that? Like, to give a person like a template for if you want to come, if they were to come to you and they don't know how much money they're putting out on a monthly basis, but they want to get things in order. What is the first step that they take, and how can they get to that point where they can figure out, here, this is what's comfortable for me. What is a small investment? Is there an amount that's not enough? Or, so can you speak more to that as well?
Sure. And, I just to kind of piggyback off of what you said, I come from, my mother and I immigrated to the US in 91. I was maybe 8 years old. Wow. And she, we didn't have any money. We didn't have any assets. We moved from house to house. We actually lived in Habitat for Humanity housing for a long time. And as my mom worked, she was such a hard worker. She, started her own business. But as she was making more and more money, there was always the conversation at home of, we don't have enough. There's not enough. And coming from a foreign country where the financial literacy over there it's non-existent, and you think it's not existent here, but over there it's totally different. Mm-hmm. So coming into this country, and now you have credit cards, right? Like back I'm from Bulgaria. We don't do the credit cards. If you want to buy something, you save up your cash and then you buy something. So the conversation in my household growing up when I was in high school, and even college was, even though my mom was making at that point a decent amount of money, it was still, where is this, we don't have enough. So, that kind of fueled me to want to help people. I said, I want to be a financial advisor because I don't want to have to worry about money. I want to have a game plan. And so that's number one, is for you to have a plan. And a lot of people, I feel like, especially younger individuals, millennials, I think that they have this false sense that you have to have a large amount of money to start with. And you really don't. I mean, you can open up like a Robinhood account. Everybody's like on Robinhood now, or a Charles Schwab account. There's so many low cost brokerage options that you can open up, and you can start investing, $25, $50, $100 a month. And that really adds up over the long term. And then you want to, for younger individuals, especially who are under a certain income, there's also tax advantage accounts like Roth Iras or IRAs that your money will grow tax deferred. And there's no minimum investment. The IRS actually says, hey, you can't put more than this amount into this vehicle. And then with the Roth IRA, you can't if you make more than a certain amount, then they'll take away the tax benefit and they'll say you can't contribute to it. So there's different tax caveats that you have to really pay attention to, but you don't need a lot to start off with. I remember, right out of college, my goal was, I just want to save $10,000. Like if I can save $10,000, I would be so happy. Yeah. And then I did that. And then the money just compounds and it compounds and it grows and it grows and it grows. And it's just so powerful. You just have to start. The first step is just to start. So again, just take a look at your finances, take a look at what's coming in the door, what's going out. If you feel like there's no surplus at the end of the month, yep, I would just say make the sacrifice and if you have to, like, go live with your parents or, a family member. Just try. I mean, there's a lot of sacrifices that I feel like a lot of people don't want to make. They want to live in a nice apartment. They want to go out with their friends and have, drinks or dinner. But at the end of the day, if you have a goal, you have to have discipline. And it will only be temporary. You have to just make the sacrifice for, a year or 2 years, depending on, your goal. And then you will really start to see that money grow and accumulate. So again, make the budget, see what you can save at the end of the month. If you feel like you can't save anything, try to see if there's any other sacrifices that you can make, like to cut down your core living expenses so that you do have the ability to save. We talk about I don't know if you heard about the $1 Million Next Door book, and they talk about in that book, stop going to spend $4 on a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Save that, invest it, and it will grow. And you'll have
people think because something costs, it seems like a small amount, like $4.
But when
$4 every day, that's $120 a month.
Yeah.
That could be put into your investment portfolio if you just make that sacrifice and go brew your own darn coffee.
Yeah.
I felt like you wanted to say something.
I wanted her to finish, but I had a question actually.
Sure.
Yeah. So my question is, I find that people, the way they grew up or what they see their parents doing, is something that they don't teach in school. About finance. It's crazy to me. I always wondered, why are we learning algebra? I would trade algebra or anything that for how to use your money, how to invest your money. Because then what happens is you graduate high school and then you end up in debt. Like you go to college and then you end up in debt after you get out of college.
Right.
So what is something that parents should teach their kids, or that you think you should know? As am I saying that right? Something that you should teach your kids about financial literacy.
That's a great question. I just recently did a career day session with the kids at my daughter's school, which goes up to, I think, 8th grade. And so one of the things, just starting off early with little kids, right? Like for example, my daughter, she has a piggy bank. We save the coins. I have her. She gets excited when she gets change and she goes and puts them in her piggy bank. And then we'll go either cash out. Usually what I do is at the end of the year, all the money saved in her piggy bank, we'll put it into her 529 plan. Or we will, I'll make her do something and, give her a couple of dollars as a chore, and then we'll go and buy a toy with it. Or she'll do like a workbook, and then at the end of the workbook, she knows that she's going to get like a toy. So for little children like that, but you start small, they actually start to pay attention,
Ask them questions, because you have to understand where your child's mindset is. All of them have one.
Oh, yeah.
The one thing that I asked my kids, I said, listen, when you get older, do you want to buy your own house, or do you want mommy and daddy to buy you a house? And the reason I asked that is because I wanted to see how independent they are. I don't want my kids to be independent. I want them to feel like they should be having their own. My son immediately, I'm buying my own house. And I was like, oh, okay. Milani said, well, I mean, you can just buy me a house. And I was like, well, do you understand, if I buy you a house, then you're going to have a curfew. I said, I'm going to require that you clean certain things, certain days. I'm going to have rules, but I'm going to be grown. I said, but you're going to be living in my house. She said, oh, yeah, I think I'm going to buy my own house. So when you have those kind of conversations, that's actually grooming your children to develop a mindset that is, I'm going to be able to afford what I want for me. And those things really make a difference. Also, my dad used to drive me, my sister, my brother around to, like, we lived in a single family home. We had, 4 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. Like, we had a nice size home on an acre lot, and grown up in New Jersey. So we were pretty well off. And my dad would take us to the really rich neighborhoods, like the mansions, and we would drive around. And he would say, one day, I want y'all to live in houses like this. This is what I want to see y'all buy. So he was already showing us and opening our mind up to things that were bigger than what we had at that time.
Yes.
And my parents were entrepreneurs. We had businesses growing up. And my dad, my mom had us working. Like my dad owned a dry cleaning store at one point. My dad drove, he had a trucking company with the big rigs. He had 3 trucks. So he had his trucking company, and we would do work. He would have us do work and learn how to be entrepreneurs. So just that hands-on, whatever you can, having those conversations really does help with children as well. So yeah.
Yep. Have the conversation. For sure. For me, it kind of came out of fear because it was always a concern in my household. The money situation was, so it was out of fear that it was like important to save. But older kids, especially, they can do chores. You can have your kids doing chores. They have to know the value of money, period. Because if they don't know the value, they're not going to respect it. They're not going to respect it in high school or college. And they could get themselves in a situation like you talked about, being in debt. I think just knowing the value of a dollar, if you drive that into your kids, they will appreciate it, and they'll take those necessary steps that they need to take. Have them do chores, have them earn it. I have always had a job since I was like 15. I think that was when you can get a permit. I started working at Baskin-Robbins. And
I learned when my church used to pimp me out. I tell this story all the time. So growing up, my church used to, I'm a good salesperson, and I've been that way my whole life. So we would sit outside Pathmark. Shout out to everybody from Pleasantville. We would sit outside Pathmark with candy, and I would sell the most candy every time. I just knew how to get people to buy candy, even if they didn't want it. And I learned back then, I said, well, shoot, if the church using me to make them money, I can figure out ways to make money for myself. I have always worked. My husband laughed at me because I've had so many jobs. I will never be without money. I'm always going to have a job. I'm always going to know how to make money. And I was doing hair in my bedroom. I was doing people's hair when I was in 8th grade, like literally doing people in high school hair for prom. Like I always figured out a way to save a coin. So it's just, you got to have that hustle. And some people don't naturally have that, but you can turn into that, like for sure. I do want to start answering some of the questions people are asking questions, which is great. Vicky Pooh said, what key points in keeping a high credit score? What key points could you give?
High credit score, you want to make sure that you are keeping low balances. So if your credit limit is $6,000, you never want to go over 50% of that in a credit balance at any given point in time. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your credit cards low, obviously paying them off if possible every single month in full. That would be key. You can utilize, Credit Karma is pretty good. It's a free tool. And if you actually link up some of your automatic bill payments that you make for example, for car insurance or maybe utility companies, if you have any bills in your name, you would link them up to the Credit Karma through your primary checking account, and that actually will boost your credit score. Let's see. Besides that, just being current on your payments. Once you fall behind a payment or two, I'm telling you, your credit score will go down so quick. I had one card recently. I had like $70 balance. I didn't even know I had it. Never came to me, went to a wrong address, and I got dinged 100 points. And so it recalculate, your credit score recalculates pretty much every 30 days. So that's the good part. But you definitely want to make those payments on time. You want to make sure your credit utilization ratio is low. So again, keeping those credit card balances low would be helpful as well. And then just as a side note, not something that the credit agencies monitor, but you want to make sure your debt to income ratio doesn't exceed, 30 to 40%. So whatever your income is, just look at what payments to debt that you have and make sure that it doesn't exceed anywhere between 25 or 30%. Because when you want to finance something such as a home, lenders do look at that ratio.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know even with, as far as credit scores, just having a service, like you said, so that you can see what's going on with your credit. There are a lot of people out here that got a lot of money and their credit sucks. It's terrible. So
we were talking about that.
We were talking about that. Yeah.
People don't pay their bills on time.
Listen, look, I always tell people, don't, like, if you're ever in business, anybody out there who's an entrepreneur and you're doing business and you meet someone who is rich, they have the fanciest house and cars, and you're like, oh, this is about to be a great client for me. You better make sure you get that money up front. Seriously, because a lot of times the people with a lot of money be the ones that don't pay their bills.
Yeah, the saying is true. More money, more problems. I'll tell you, some of my clients that have the most income are the worst savers. And some of my clients that make, work for nonprofits, earning, a fraction of what high income earners make, they will save all their money.
Yes. It's time out for, if I could just get 1,000 more a week or 1,000 more a month, trust me, it's not about how much you make, it's how much you keep. And it's about you changing your mindset as far as it pertains to money. So if you make more money, that does not mean it's going to solve your problems. What's going to solve your problems is you being more disciplined. And I'm not saying that just, like I'm just trying to like preach to anybody. I am a living testimony of that. I went through it myself. I was making $10,000 a month doing appraisals way before me and Chris got married or anything like that. So this is just me. And I was giving money to my friends. I was lending money out. I was not being responsible. I was at the club, partying up, getting VIP sections, buying drinks, and just living life and enjoying it. But when it came time and the real estate market crashed, and I went from doing 30, 40 appraisals a month to maybe one, that's when real life set in. And that's when I was like, whoa, I made all of this money. That's when you look back and you're like, whoa, I brought in how much money the past few months?
Where did it go?
And then you start going to those people that you lent money to, like, hey, when are you going to pay that back? Oh, I ain't got it. I mean, you ain't getting that back. So I'm a living testimony. I've been through it. So if you're being responsible and being disciplined, I remember one time when I was doing appraisals and I was trying to like get things going again. My dad was laughing at me because I would talk to him on the phone while I'm driving around doing appraisals, and then my phone would be about to die. So I'd be like, well, Dad, let me call you when I get back home because my phone's about to die. And he'd be like, if you don't go out and buy a charger for your car so that your phone don't die. I said, look, that charger costs $20. I ain't got it. I was trying to save, and I was not spending anything outside of what I knew I had to save. Even a $20 charger. That's how disciplined I had to be in order to get to the next level. And you have that respect for just the discipline of it all. And it changes you, So yeah.
I have a lot of clients that have, they have large sums of money invested, and you'd be surprised, what they spend their money on is not anything materialistic. I mean, some of these clients they're driving around in Priuses. Like literally small electric cars. And then I have some other clients that don't have those investable assets there. They want to get to that goal, but they're over here spending $1,000 on a car payment, $1,000 plus on a car payment. And I'm like, you can't do that.
Right. It's a difference between looking like you have it and actually having it. And I've always been a person where like, I had friends that used to like buy fake designer purses. And they'd be like, oh, you can get one for like $20. I'm like, why do I want to look like I have a designer purse? Like, if I want to have one, I want it to be one. Like, if I don't have it, then I'm just not going to. I hated wearing purses anyway. You remember that?
Yes, I do.
I hate wearing it. Can you put this in your pocket? Can you put this in your pocket? Yeah, but I've always been that person where I'm like, I don't need to look like something that I'm not. And I think that's a lot of what people have to get over that hump. If you got to get a rundown car, or if you got to take the bus or take the metro for a few months in order to get to your goal, do that. Look at the bigger picture. I remember I just want people to understand, because people who know my position right now, who may not know what my position was before, I don't want you to
been easy.
Right. I don't want y'all to think I'm just preaching to y'all. Like, I'm telling y'all based on my experience. I used to get up at 6 a.m. Well, not get up. I was up before that. I would leave my apartment at 6 a.m. and I would walk to the Greenbelt Metro Station, walk pitch black, and which was like a 10-15 minute walk. and then I would get on the metro. It took me 2 hours to get to work. If I had a car at that time, it would have took 15 minutes to drive there. It took me 2 hours. I did that every day. And it taught me a lot in those moments where it's like, okay, I'm reading books. I'm using that time trying to be as responsible as possible and learn in that moment. But when I got to the point where I was able to save up enough to get the vehicle, all of that, taking the bus and all of that, like I didn't have any pride. I didn't have any ego. I did what I had to do. And I made sure I had a pocket knife and some pepper spray. One in my hand, because I would have to walk home in the pitch black at night, you know. So I was making sure I was ready, and make sure I could protect myself. But at the same time, I had no pride. I put all pride to the side to do what I needed to do so I can save up so I can have my goal. So some people, if you got to cut your TV off, if you probably don't even watch TV no way. No.
I don't understand these high cable bills. I really don't. I'm all for, I know you guys were talking about YouTube TV earlier. I'm all for it.
So you heard what I said, right? You're listening to that. Okay.
YouTube TV is the best thing ever. I don't know why people have $200 cable bills these days.
It's the best thing ever because it's $69 a month, and my cable bill was $300. Wow! And I didn't even watch. I watched, I think, 3 channels: Bravo, E, and
I watch Netflix. I watch Netflix series. I don't during the day.
That was the thing because I was watching Netflix and HBO Max and all that stuff. So now YouTube TV, which is basically cable, is cable. It is so crazy to me. I don't understand why people still have cable. I really don't.
I know when,
please, because I keep telling him, get rid of it. Crazy. We don't watch TV. I'm working all day. Like I'm in the basement fulfilling orders for Mila Eve, or I'm doing social media for Not for Lazy Moms, or I'm writing articles, or I'm reading articles, or I'm playing a podcast, or I'm playing like I'm literally not. I don't watch TV. Right. So kids watch YouTube when they want to watch articles. So it's like kind of figure out, like I said, what Buffy said. Episode 15, we did. I think it was episode 15. We did a generational wealth series episode on Finance 101.
I saw that. It was good.
Yeah. Buffy said needs and wants. Figure out what your needs are versus your wants. Because not everything you buy, you need.
Right.
You know, you don't need that Starbucks coffee. You don't need that Uber Eats. You can go to the grocery store and buy some meals that will last you for the whole week versus takeout every day and see that money come down. The pandemic was amazing for me in the sense that we couldn't have company. So I ain't had to worry about buying a bunch of alcohol and wine for people coming in town. I ain't had to worry about paying for a bunch of food. Like it was nice. I was able to save some money that I normally spend. That was a part of what Chris and I had planned out as far as extra spending for the year. So going into 2021, I'm like, wow, we have extra money that we didn't spend last year because we didn't really have a lot of company in town. So
absolutely,
it's still like it doesn't matter what ballpark you're in. You still have to be financially responsible. Doesn't matter how much money you do, because you see these people on TV that have what you think millions of dollars, and then a few years later they are broke, or they're not.
Because they also have $1 million of debt too, so their net worth is negative.
Yes.
So I have a question that's partly selfish.
Sure.
So what advice would you have for someone who has just started a new business that has their own money instead of investments, a new small business that's looking to grow? What would be your advice?
Well, a couple of things. You want to make sure that you have a good cash reserve. That's important. And so make sure that you know what your core living expenses are and project those. Usually the rule of thumb is to have 3 to 6 months of core living expenses saved up in some type of liquid position, so that you can have access to that money for emergencies or opportunities. Because as many small business owners know, some months could be good and some months can be bad. You know, you can make money one month, but not, you can go for an extended period of time without making any real money or without cutting yourself a paycheck or, breaking even. So you want to make sure that your cash reserve is established. And that another key point with the cash reserve is that you don't want to have it sitting in a regular checking account, earning you 0.002%. Maybe a third of it could be in a checking account because it's liquid and it's very accessible. You can go to the ATM, withdraw the cash right away. But you want to structure your cash reserve a little bit more in a way where you're you're taking advantage of maybe some bonds or some fixed income type of investments where you're getting maybe 2 to 3, maybe 4% on your cash, making it just work for you. Because I just hate when I see people having so much money in cash at your local bank. It's not doing you any good. It's just making the bank is making money off of you. You're actually losing money. So that's one thing. And then, so that would just give you a little bit more flexibility in case you run into some months or some periods of time where you don't have, you don't have a profit. You're not turning a profit for that month. So I would say that would be, a key priority for you to do as a business owner.
Yeah. I also, even with business, and just speaking for me, Leave Essentials, I have priced my products so that the people who are purchasing from me can afford them.
Right.
So my profit margin is not crazy high like some of the other competitors that I have, but I did it because that's what I wanted to do. But I'm also able to offer services that may not cost me anything, but I'm able to provide information or, some about workshops. And I kind of look at a balance. There's a fine line where I don't want people to feel like they're not getting something in return. But at the same time, I'm giving you knowledge, which will also increase how much you want to spend in my store. You'll be more knowledgeable of the oils, so you'll know which ones that you want to purchase, if you're more willing to try new ones. So I try to find that middle ground where I'm selling a product, I have that investment that I put into these products, but now I'm also investing time. It doesn't cost me, literally, it doesn't cost me. That balance and just being creative. Like, all right, how can I, draw clients to me, and it's not going to cost me anything out of my pocket. So like with you, I love what Riley does. She has Riley Knox Couture, and she has her YouTube channel, Riley Knox. And she does her behind the scenes when she's making her outfit, her gowns. She's showing you the process to me to draw people in to say they don't want just a gown from you to wear. They want an experience from Riley Knox Couture. They want, it's like an emotional connection that you're giving to people because they're seeing your process. They see hands-on and they see for face value all that what you're putting into it and the fact that it's custom. So it becomes special to them. Right. So you're already, to me, you're on the right path because like you're literally giving people a whole experience, which a lot of people do that after. They're like selling products and they're like, wait, how do I make this into an experience? Right. So so you'll have your beginning, investment that you have to make, and then eventually you'll start to see it turn over for sure. Yeah.
And always, as a business owner, always take some of your profit. My mother, having a business, she always took her, whatever she made, she always reinvested it back into her company. And what I think a lot of business owners fail to do, whether you own a small business or maybe you're an entrepreneur, maybe you're a real estate agent. I see this a lot with real estate agents, is you always have to pay yourself. Make sure you pay yourself. I know it's important to reinvest your profit back into your business because you want to continue to see it grow and you always want to expand, but just don't forget you have to pay yourself first. So take out 20% and just put it in an investment account and know that that's just going to be there for emergencies or opportunities or just longer term wealth creation. Don't be somebody that, starts making a ton of money and continues to reinvest it back into your business because 30, 40 years from now, you're not going to have much in an investment portfolio when you really need it, when it's time to retire.
Oh, I'm glad you said that because that's me right there. Because that's all that I've been doing. That's like the money I've been making from Ela Eve. I get these requests and they're like, oh, new diffusers, oh this, oh that, and then I'm taking my profit and it's just a cycle. So that's actually a reminder that you just gave me to start pulling out and setting that money to the side versus, because it's like, it's new. I just started the business this year. January 1st was the launch. So yeah, I'm glad you said that. You literally just reminded me of something that I totally forgot about.
Yeah.
I'm going up these orders. To pay myself. Santivia Major said, what kind of investment is available for people 40 plus?
40 plus? As any investment is available for individuals that are 40, same as they would be as you're 30. You can invest in stocks, you can invest in mutual funds, ETFs, which are exchange traded funds. Pretty much anything is available to you at 40 plus. As you can get the same investment when you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. It all depends on, again, your risk tolerance and then your overall financial picture. I think what's important is for you to know where you are currently and have a game plan and have a blueprint and know where you want to go, because you got to know where you are, you got to know where you want to be, and then figuring out the most efficient way to get from point A to point B. So knowing that is key, because if you don't know where you are, that's one, you need to know what is the end goal, and then how do we fill in the steps to get you to the end goal. How much do you need to save? What rate of return do you need to get? Does that rate of return correspond with how risky you are? Do you need to take on more risk? Sometimes people don't even need to take on that much risk to get to the end goal as they might think. So, but yeah, you can invest in stocks, bonds, you can invest in real estate. It just all depends on your personal situation. Yeah. But it's not age, it doesn't there's no age discrimination when it comes to the type of investments out there.
Good.
Yeah.
About to be my age bracket.
No, because I think some people, once they understand what like a government bond is versus mutual fund or versus a stock, and they'll be able to like really understand what it is that they want to do. So I know, like for us, for Chris and I, we love government bonds. They keep your money a lot longer, but it's basically guaranteed return because the government's funding it. So it's like you're getting your money back.
There's no default risk.
Right. It's like they're using that money to, like, when they're redoing roads, or if they're planting roads on planting trees on the highway, and the maintenance that goes into that money is what they use. And for us, because we're pretty conservative with our investment portfolio and we're not big spenders, it works for us. So you have to understand, how soon do you want money back? And how long can you keep your money out of your pocket and put it into that investment and be comfortable? So I think when people think of investments, they make it so much bigger than what it really is. And they get confused by it because they don't understand that there's options based off of what you want and what you desire when it comes to your savings. So like she said, when she's saying risk factor, she's talking about, how aggressive do you want to be, or do you not want to be aggressive? Do you want to say, like, I want to put a bunch of money in and I want a quick return? Well, if you do, there's risk with that. If you want to say, I'm going to slow grow this money and forget about it. I'm going to put, $500 there and just forget about it for a year, versus I want to put 2,000 in, but I want something back in 3 or 4 months. Like, you have to figure out what you're comfortable with. And the possibility, if the stock market goes down and you lose money, it's almost like in your mind, you got to just say, it's not mine anymore until the return comes. See,
I always tell people that you have to think when you're investing, it's still your money. Some people think, or when they're working with a financial advisor, at least, it's like they're giving me their money. I'm not taking your money. It's still your money. It's just now your money is making you more money instead of just sitting there doing nothing for you.
Yep, absolutely. Because like you said, if it's sitting in a regular bank account, they are getting loans off of your money.
Yeah.
And you're like, it's just sitting there, and you're like literally allowing them to make even more profit off of your money.
And actually, if you don't have the correct amount that they want you to have in there, they'll actually charge you. So they're actually taking your money.
It's crazy.
And you got to be careful for some type of account. I know I had somebody told me this the other day. Oh, in order for me to get 4% on this.
It's okay. So rude. He just comes down here. You're not even drinking champagne. Why are you
taking mixing it with wine? Hey, everybody, my bad, y'all. Man, I've been wrestling with these kids.
We're not drinking wine. We're drinking champagne.
Me too.
Now you are.
Bye, y'all. Sorry to interrupt.
I cannot with you. I was just telling everybody about how cute you are with your investments. Like,
Andy Cohen about this.
No, we should have Chris
Andy
talk
Cohen
about.
should have asked you about them investments, but he made the
You know what?
judgments.
We should have Chris talk about how former NFL players that have squandered all their money and didn't invest correctly and don't have.
Yeah. Did you want to sit on the conversation?
Still,
The baby's upstairs. Some of my teammates might get mad. My old teammates.
We ain't calling nobody out, but yeah.
I had a couple of NFL clients before, and people are like, why don't you work with NFL athletes? I'm like, I don't want anything to do with NFL athletes. I'm sorry, no offense, but a lot of them just spend so much, just so much more than what they should be. And it's just
That's
you gotta get them to spend on you. That's what you should have did.
Not spend on her. Spend money with her investment firm.
My fault. I don't even know what y'all topic is. My bad.
But yeah,
have a good night tonight. Y'all take care. Oh, my bad. I thought you meant dating one or something.
Oh my God.
Oh.
No. She's
And that's another bad investment. People just splurging on their random girlfriends. And
that
is. Don't have a random, have a main one.
Oh.
Money. You're going with their money.
Let me tell y'all
That's
something.
how you save that.
Whatever. Let me tell you something about
And I got
Chris.
Best investment you ever made. Right here.
Chris was the cheapest dude ever. He ain't never paid one of my bills while we were dating. Like
Fantastic.
Capital Grill bills. Capital Grill bills.
He would take me out to eat. That's about it. But people think people think because Chris played in the NFL when we were dating, they thought that he was paying my bills. No, we weren't like that at all. I handled my own stuff, and honestly, I didn't want him paying for my stuff. Like
we was just hump buddies.
Back then, yeah.
That's smart.
Right. On both parts.
How many rappers, NFL players, everybody who are buying all these girls, all these gifts and all this stuff? You're not.
Yep.
Birkin bags.
I know guys that will buy a brand new car. Now this would get me, and this is gonna piss you off. Just listen. Buy a brand new car. Now we know how much money it costs in taxes when you pull that car off the lot. Right? Pay them taxes. So for a car that's like $200,000, you spend like $20,000 in taxes sometimes. Like however much your state taxes in Virginia is a personal property tax every year. So you have to pay that tax all the time. Then a month later, trade that car in and go get another $2,000-$3,000 car. Pay them taxes again, along with insurance and everything. It would disgust me.
No, I know.
I would be like, yo, what are you doing?
It's about 4 guys that I play with that literally spent over $3 million in cars on everything. And I'm not gonna name
that.
That
is not an investment.
And back then it was cute. It was fun. It was cute. And now a lot of those same dudes are struggling really, really bad. And I bet they wish that they had that money now.
Right.
Tasha said, Chris cheap. He still won't give me his Bentley.
I got a 2005 Bentley I'm working on right now, trying to get it back rolling.
But no, listen, like we have a family car. We have a nice SUV, but my husband, he drives a bucket for work. And he gets clowned all the time by his friends who have like $1,000 monthly car payments, $1,500 monthly car payments. They're like, why are you driving this bucket? He's like, I don't need to. Who am I showing off for? I'm driving around for work. Like, I don't need to be in a nice car, but there'll be the same ones that are crying about they don't have any money to invest. Well, you don't have any money to invest because you have a $1,500 car note.
Yeah. Your husband like wifey at home. I don't need to impress nobody. I'm gonna drive this bucket to work and get on back home with the bucket.
Right. People, like we said earlier in the conversation, they want to look like something versus actually have it. I'm a person. I want to have it. I want to look like it too, but I want to actually have it. But I'm not a person like I don't spend money like. I have enough purses, enough shoes. I don't have to like have the latest purse or the newest shoe. Like. I'm just like, whatever. Like, if I'm going out and I want to buy something for an occasion, great. If not, I'm home chilling. Like, it's much cheaper to be home with your kids and just like enjoying life.
Much better than driving that Prius to a home that you actually own.
Right.
Driving a business apartment that you're renting.
Yo, that confuses me all the time because I know how much it costs for a darn service appointment for a Bentley every year. At least $3,000.
Wow.
And that's just for an oil change.
Wow.
And for them to check like all of their little normal and stuff. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
And a lot of it is about instant gratification. So many people want instant gratification. You know, I've been there too. You know, I've bought large purchases. I bought a nice bag and it feels good, but that feeling is very short lived.
It is.
Because then it just goes
about showing off for other people too. It's about, you know, optics or.
Well, sometimes, because when I bought these boobs, I bought them for me. It was the best investment I've ever made, and I'm still happy about them. It's been 10 years, and I'm sad because they say after 10 years you're supposed to get new ones.
They might last a little longer.
I feel like they're gonna last just fine. But look, these things this was an investment I'm proud about still to this day. 10 years later, still.
It's a long-term investment.
For me. But yes, Janika said, where would be the first place to start when choosing your first stocks to invest in?
I would say pick companies that you like, that you are into. You know, if you work out and you like Nike or Lululemon, if you're a coffee drinker and you like Starbucks, if you are into technology and you like, you know, Apple or Microsoft, you know, stick to those type of companies that you know that you feel are going to be around for a very long period of time and that have fundamentals that support the actual price that you're going to be, you know, paying for this particular stock. So that's what I would do if I'm just starting out.
My sister is a fool. She said, She's ignorant.
Hey, but he got me and he's happy, so.
Jamaica said the car depreciates as soon as you drive off the lot.
Absolutely.
Yes, and this, look, all right, I'm about to give y'all some tea. I'm about to give y'all some secrets right now that if y'all don't already know, y'all gonna be so happy that I'm telling y'all. Okay. When you go to buy your car, you can get a new car. Get the dealer car.
That's what I did.
Yes, me too.
I got a loaner and had $4,000, 4,000 miles on it. And guess what? I probably saved like 20 grand.
They still consider it a
new car. So you get the new car finance rates.
Girl, I'll give you a virtual high five. Yes, that's what I do. No, every car I've bought is a dealer car because that's the car that they ride around in to show all the other rich people who don't care about depreciation. They show them, oh, this is how it drives, and let me drive it over here to this state. Show this car to this person.
And guess what? They maintenance it very well for you.
Yeah, because they have to. And you know the inside's going to be spectacular. The shape is not going to be anything broken. And then when you drive it off the lot, guess what? They already took the hit for it. You're below the value, and they still give you the new car package as if it's a brand new car. So it's not used.
Never buy a new car, ever. Yep. One of the worst financial mistakes that you will make.
Wow.
Yes. Tasha said, Monique, speaking facts, much cheaper and well maintained. Yes, I'm telling y'all. Yes. My sister said she paid off her 2008 Dodge Charger. It was a dealer rental. I'm telling y'all, this is the stuff. This is the good trickery here. People don't always think about. The car. My first car, my dad bought off the showroom floor when I was 16. He got me a Cougar. It was like a sports car. Nice. We put rims on it, put a system because that's what we do. But he got off the showroom floor. But also it had miles on it, but it was still considered a brand new car. It was on display. People be all up in it and stuff, looking at it. But they keep it nice because that's the car that everybody's gonna look at as the prototype for what they're gonna buy off the lot. You get it for way low. You don't take the hit. I don't believe in taking hits. Nope. I'm about to find rich folk that want to trade in their cars every month, and I'm buying that car off of you that you only drove 5 times.
Exactly.
Like, look, there's ways to it, and my thing is, it's all about how much money you keep. I'm trying to keep that. Yes. Nikki said, what is risky investment and what is a low risk investment?
So we have what we call the financial pyramid. So if you think about a pyramid, You have levels of the different pyramid, and at the bottom of the pyramid, you have cash and cash investments. Then you have fixed income bonds. You have large cap, mid cap, small cap. Then you have international or foreign equity investments, and then you have your emerging market, which are some countries like some Asian countries, China, Japan, etc., India. And then you have IPOs. So IPOs, initial public offerings, are the most riskiest asset class out there because there's not enough data. So we don't know if they're going to do well or if they're going to fail. And so stocks such as, Coinbase. So Coinbase was an IPO that came out today. That could be, there's not enough research and data to support the price offering. So that could be considered a risky investment. A less risky investment would be a government bond, that is fully backed by the full credit of the Treasury Department.
Yes. And for all of you new moms out there, get a 529, get a 529, and just think, if you're putting money in from the time that they're born, once they're 18, come on, 18 years. It's like a college savings plan, and they're able to use those funds towards anything that pertains to school. So it's like it allows you, and you correct me if I'm saying anything incorrect, because I have 529s for my kids and my guy kids. And every year we just put money into it as a birthday gift. Like, we don't be getting dolls and stuff that they can use for 6 months and throw away, cutting the hair off, and throwing it outside somewhere. We put money into it. And people, please, for baby showers and stuff like that, y'all just get money. Like, stop getting all these things you don't need. Having 4 and 5 kids and having a baby shower for each one. If you're going to do that, buy something that's neutral. My kids all slept in the same crib. They all had the same car seat and stroller. I bought one. And they all used it, and I made sure it was a neutral color.
Yes.
All of them will be fine with.
Because they're only in it for 1 year.
They're barely, because half the time they be up in my bed. But
Maybe about 3 cribs.
What? I still got my crib, Christopher, 8 years old, my crib 9. Because I bought the crib a little bit before he was born. So my crib is 8.5 years old. And I used it for all 3 of the kids, and it's still in pristine shape. To the point where I'm thinking about selling it or giving it away. I don't know. I'm not going to use it anymore. I'm done.
Yeah, my kids have the same crib too, same stroller, same car seat, everything. My husband's like, why do we have all this stuff in storage? I'm like, because I'm not buying it again. I made the initial investment and I'm going to keep it for as long as I need it, And yes, to your point with 529 plans, they make it so easy nowadays that if you have friends or family members, you can literally go online to a link on your 529 plan account, and they could put money in your kid's 529 plan directly through the online portal. So it makes it super, super easy. With my son, with both my kids both have a 529 plan, and my 5-year-old probably has $30,000 already saved up for college, and it didn't take a lot of money to do that. By the way, it's
say that again. Your 5-year-old.
My 5-year-old has $30,000 for college, and when I tell you, I started with maybe 20. I always do I start with $25 or $50 a month, but at the end of the year, I always make sure that I max out to get the tax credit. So if you have, you want to make sure that you get a 529 plan within the state that you live so that you can get a tax credit. And every state is different. But for Maryland, for example, you get $2,400 or $2,500 per child. So I always make sure that I at least put in $2,500 into that account so that I can get the tax credit or the tax deduction from Maryland, and it will grow. I mean, she's 5. How does she have 30,000? My 1.5-year-old, I do the same thing for him, and he has $8 grand. He's 1.5. He has $8 grand. It's crazy. It's just you start out with a little bit, and it just compounds and it compounds and compounds, and before you know it, college education is taken care of. You know
what's nice about it? You're not thinking about the stock market. You're not the stock market might drop, but then it goes back up. The money is there. It's doing what it does. You know,
Exactly.
so it's not that stress of it all is not there. And your baby is literally making money in their sleep, which is generational wealth. That is goals. Make money in your sleep. Have your phone dinging with notifications of sales. Look, why are you sleeping? That is the goal. So no, I love it. And it's a good situation. And you know that your child is going to be good regardless. If they go on to get a scholarship, great. But at least you know that the bases are covered and they're able to do what they need to do. So yeah, my sister said these are gems. Never heard of a 5 to 9. Yeah. Got them for God kids and everything else. Like in Christopher, Melania, and Chase. As soon as they're born, we tell our financial advisor, hey, go ahead and here's the social security number. Go and get it together. Let's do it. And then we make deposits in it and let the money just grow.
Speaking of college, what would be your advice for someone just getting out of college or just in college right now? Because so many people have so much debt as soon as they come out of college or while they're in college.
Give them advice going into college because those be the ones that get tricked with them darn credit cards.
Yeah. So what would be your?
Yeah.
Just stay away from debt. You know, like I said, I came up from a household that money was always an issue. So I just out of fear just never was the type of person that would accumulate any type of debt. Like debt to me was just, it's just not an option. I never wanted to spend more than what I had. And that's really, really key. So just budgeting, you know, just living below. The key is until you get to the point where you have that financial freedom, you want to make sure that you're living below your means. So that's very, very important. I was lucky enough that my undergraduate education was paid for, and I see how stressed some of my clients are that have large student loan balances. The one thing about student loans, though, also is that they're essentially good type of debt. It's considered a good type of debt to have because it has an end date. It's not like a credit card. A credit card is considered a revolving credit line. And so that is a negative type of debt that you don't want to have. So as long as you're making your student loan payments, you'll be fine. And while you're at school, if you are if you have student loans, you're probably deferring them. Most of the student loans you don't have to pay back until you are into the workforce. If you don't come from money, or if you don't have financial support, try to maybe get like I had a job throughout college. You know, I think college is not that stressful where you can't have a job. It's not. I mean, you're going to have a hard workload, but I had a tutoring job, you know, and that helped me save. You know, that helped a lot as far as savings and coming out of college with a decent amount of cash reserve. And I always say, just make sure you have that cash reserve, because a lot of people focus on paying down their debt, but they don't focus as much on building up that cash reserve. So if the cash reserve is not there, what will happen eventually is that something will occur. Something will break, for example, on your car. You know, you'll need new brakes, or something will happen. And then if you don't have the cash to pay for it, you're going to put it on your credit card. So it will be an ongoing cycle of credit card debt that will be extremely hard to get into. So make sure with the income that you are earning, that you're not only paying down debt, but you're also building up that cash reserve, so that you're not going to get yourself into the cycle of debt on the credit cards. Because once you're in it, it's so hard to get out.
Yes. Nikki Pooh said, when you say save every month, are you saying put it in the bank every month or invest in the stock market? I don't know how to invest. I started a Robinhood account with $2,000. I have no idea what I invested.
Okay. I would, if you have your cash reserve established, remember that's typically 3 to 6 months of your core living expenses. So find out what they are and try to get that in a cash reserve. Once you have that cash reserve established, then go ahead and start investing in the stock market. Right. Because with that money, then you can afford to take more risk, because you already have your core living expenses set aside for at least 3 months. And that three-month rule of thumb really came about with a statistic that said it usually takes the average individual about 3 months to gain employment. So if if you lost your job, it will usually take an average of 3 months to regain employment. So then with any excess on top of that cash reserve, then you start investing. And Like I said, start with companies that you know, that you're familiar with, that you like, maybe that you utilize, that you use on a day-to-day basis. Start with those. Think about, Microsoft, think about Apple, and everybody's different because everybody has their own risk tolerance. But I think if you start with companies that you like and that you're familiar with, you're already at an advantage. There is a book that we were made to read at Duquesne. One of my finance professors made us read this. It's called A Random Walk Down Wall Street. And literally, if you are young and you have 10, 20, or even 30-year time horizon, you can blindfold yourself, throw a dart at a newspaper of stocks, and that could be how you select your stocks. Literally, like you're just blindfolded picking stocks. As long as you have 10 to 20 years time horizon, you're always going to make money, because the stock market is essentially like legal gambling. It is going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. But if you look at a graph, a 10-year graph, it's always going to go up. So you're always going to win and make money in the stock market.
Wow. Yeah. Dang, I was about to say something and I just forgot what it was. You said something about the stock. It triggered something in my memory, but it'll come back. Tyson said the reality is people will incur debt. College graduates start off in the red and make crappy salaries and have to pay for their lives, literally digging out of a sand hole. Yeah, and that's the reason why I always say them darn credit cards, stay away from them. Like when you go to other countries, they don't live off of credit. They live off of what you can buy, what is in my hand.
If you don't have it, you can buy it.
Right. Like, yeah. Stay away from the credit card. Like, just because you have a credit card with this limit, to me, when they start coming to you and saying, hey, here's $10,000. Here, you can take that, to me is a warning sign. Like, hold on. It's a trap. Like, I'm not about to, I love being debt free. I don't like owing people anything. And you just have to gradually get out of that. Don't take all of your money and go paying off everything, but just take enough where you're able to talk to them, maybe even talk and negotiate. I've negotiated payments with people. Credit card back in the day, you can call and say, look, here's what I can afford. I want to pay you something. Work with me. Here's what I'm making. I'm not trying to. You can talk to them and negotiate with them directly. If they say no, say, let me speak to a manager that can assist me. Let me speak to someone who is above you that can help me with this situation, because I want to pay you your money. You can talk to them and be adamant, and they will work with you. Trust me. Because at the end of the day, if you don't pay your debt, they have the ability to write that off. Their insurance covers them. They're going to get their money regardless. Mm-hmm. So you talk to them and say, look, let me negotiate with you. Here's what I can pay. Let's work it out. They will rather much work it out than do not pay anything at all. So just try. That's always my thing. Like, I don't accept no. So
and also when you're going to college, and this goes back to an earlier question, but when you're going into college, you want to make sure that you're going into a college that, for undergraduate at least, that you can actually afford or won't get too much in debt going to. So one of the primary reasons why I went to Duquesne, I wanted to go to Fordham in New York. I wanted to go to NYU. These schools are very, very, very expensive, but I didn't want to get into that type of debt. So I went to Duquesne, and Duquesne, I got a great education for a fraction of the cost. And I was able to come out of that debt free, luckily, fortunately. But you don't want to go, and I think parents want their children to go to the best schools, but really for undergraduate, it's not that important if you go to an Ivy League school or you go to an in-state school, as much as it is to go in there and get a good education, but not incur all of that debt, because you don't want to. It doesn't really make a difference in how much money you're going to make in a paycheck. Graduate school, yes. If you go to graduate school, if you're going to go to Ivy League graduate school, you're going to end up more money than a non-Ivy League or non-private school. But going into college, just make sure that you're making a reasonable decision on picking the type of school and the costs associated with that school, because you can get a good education for $25,000 $10,000 or $15,000, and you can get one that's $75,000. And the income that you make from those undergraduate degrees, the difference is not that much.
Yeah. When I was, after I left school, I would go to community college and pick what classes I felt as though I needed. And I took those classes, and it helped me to learn what I needed to learn in my endeavors, without actually having a degree and being able to sustain and know about business. So, do what you can is what I would say. Like, do what you can. Don't feel like you have to overachieve and be where other people are, because you can be where you are and you'll excel far beyond what others do. So just do what you can do. Figure out what works for you. So while people are asking all of these questions about, what investment? How do I do this? How do I do that? Have the conversation with a financial advisor. Start there. Figure out what you can do for you. Let that person kind of walk you through. You can also listen to the Generational Wealth Series podcast that we've done. We've done several of them. If y'all go through the podcast, they're available on every major platform, Not for Lazy Moms with Monique Samuels, and also on our YouTube channel right here. We had several Generational Wealth Series podcasts that we've done on finances, business planning, branding, overcoming debt. Our finale is actually coming up this Tuesday. We have for episode 20, which is our last episode for season 3, is on mind your business. Because some of us need to mind our business. If you mind your business, you'll realize you'll be able to sustain a lot of wealth. And our special guest is Monique Rodriguez, who is the owner and founder of Myel Organics. And she's given us all kinds of tips, tricks, secrets. It was an amazing and emotional podcast. Wait till y'all see. It was so deep. It was the perfect finale. It talked about how businesses are sometimes inspired by some of your lowest points in life, and you're able to pull yourself together and you end up helping people in the process. And something that you didn't even want to be your business turns into this empire. So make sure y'all check that out. We have a lot of episodes on finances and everything else. Episodes like this tonight is what we love to do at Not for Lazy Moms. So I hope that y'all have gained so much more wisdom. If y'all want more of it, just let me know. We'll do another episode talking about it. If there was questions
you have to come back.
Yeah, it's great. Like, I feel like people are still asking questions, and they're posting in the comments. And let's see. Tasha said, now when you settle your debt, you can get a letter to delete the collection account from your credit. So important. I said, yes.
Yeah.
You take control of your credit report.
A lot of it is a lot of legwork, but you just have to do the research and do it. It can be time consuming, but it's well worth it. I also feel, just one last comment, a lot of people, especially younger individuals, feel a lot of pressure because some of these financial terms they don't know, right? And a good resource is Investopedia. Any financial term that you don't know, the internet is your friend. Just take the time to research. If you don't have, financial advisors, they're really not that expensive as people think. So just look into it, do your research. You can get good advice. Don't feel the pressure that you have to know everything about finance, because there are a lot of smart individuals, very well educated individuals out there who can do a pretty good job doing financial planning on their own. It just comes down to they don't have the time. They don't have the time to do a good job. So if you don't have the means to get a financial advisor, don't feel that pressure. Just do your research. Everything is available online.
Yes. And stop taking advice from people that's broke, that don't know nothing about money. Like, if they have not went to school for financial planning, don't take advice from people who don't know how to financially plan anything, let alone their own life. Like, stop taking advice from people like that. Like, look, there's so many podcasts out there. There are books out there. You can literally take control of what it is that you desire. There's a book that I would read all the time, and let me type it down here. Y'all gonna ask me about it. I've read this book probably 10 times, and I'm gonna type it and put it in the comments. It's called $1 Million Habits by Brian Tracy.
I love Brian Tracy.
Oh my God. This book changed my whole life because it changed my mindset about money, about wealth. So if y'all want a good book, I'm not endorsing the book. I don't make anything off of it. I have a copy. I have several copies in my library. It is a life-changing book. It was for me. So maybe you'll read it. It was an easy read. I read it several times. It talks about changing your mindset as it pertains to wealth and money. And I would read this book while I was on the bus and then the metro and then another bus. It took my 2-hour journey to my job that would have took me 15 minutes to get to had I had a car. But it was what I needed at that time. It was amazing. It was life-changing for me. And it really helped me to be able to prepare for even some of the most, did I spell that wrong? Oh, I thought I had 3 L's. Even for where I am with my business, it helps to this day. So $1 Million Habits by Brian Tracy is amazing. My sister is the one who told me to read this book, Tasha, who I already told y'all on the last live that we did on TV Monique. Tasha is the queen. When it comes to me and my siblings, she literally set the pace for and set the tone for me and my brother. And she has that managerial experience, and she just knows how to get you together. So my sister,
and like you said, listen to the podcast when you're driving to work or you have a 30, 45-minute drive.
Yes.
You can listen to music. I know you on your off time where you're at the gym or whatever, but listen to these podcasts because the best investment that you can make is in yourself and in your knowledge. That's just going to continue to pay it forward and bring in more income to you.
Yes. Thank you, Aunt Nisi. She said, I have money my husband don't know about. I have my insurance papers that he never looks at. We also did a generational wealth series on estate planning. So that's another one. And let me tell y'all, these podcasts they're not these boring like lectures. Like we have fun. We're giving you firsthand knowledge and experience of what we went through, along with the expertise of people in that field. That's why I made sure when we have these talks, we have a professional in the field. So you're not thinking that we're just getting some random behind advice. You're getting a professional free information. Like literally, y'all look, we're trying to do our best to make sure that anybody that's in our community has everything that they need. So yeah, listen, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, like literally, this has been great. I hope that y'all all were able to get something from it and learn something. And, this has been great. Thank you to everybody who's watching. We have steady at a good 50 viewers at a time. So this is great. Make sure you hit the like button. And if y'all have any suggestions for topics for Wind Down Wednesday, put them in the comments. We'd love to hear your feedback, and we will talk about anything. We will find professionals in whatever field that you're looking for, and we'll have a nice chat about it. But I have all of your information in the description, but I want you to go ahead and tell people as well where they can find you.
Sure. So you guys can just check out my website. If you go to ameriprisefinancial.com/Petya Balevska, you can find my website. There's a bunch of tips, articles, everything finance on there. And then my IG name is Pipina, Pipinab. That's just my nickname that my late father gave me. So it's a little homage to him. But yeah, you can find me on there.
Awesome. And I have all of her information in the description. All you gotta do is click below and you'll find everything you need to know about Petya. And thank you again. This has been great.
Yeah,
good, Riley?
It's been amazing.
Yes, I really appreciate it. So thank you to everybody. Y'all have an amazing night, and we will see y'all next week for Wind Down Wednesday. We're going to have Ashley Peterson, who is the owner of Elizabeth Cosmetics, on as a guest. And make sure y'all continue to use the promo codes that we provided in your newsletter, because we still have promo codes for the Play Museum, the little town, the whole month of April. You're getting 40% off for open play. So make sure y'all check that out at moms.com, and we will see y'all next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Have a great evening.
Yeah.